Hi, welcome back to Sophia's Art Supply Review. We have many exciting art supply reviews coming up in the next few weeks, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also follow us on Instagram for some sneak peeks and behind the scene videos. In today's video, I would be reviewing a watercolor paper art journal by Zen Sangam. This journal is A5 size, landscape format and contains 50 pages of 245 GSM 20% cotton cold press watercolor paper. The paper claims to be suitable for use with watercolors, acrylic, mixed media, oil pastels and may be easily used for wet media techniques. A stitch-bound journal like this is also available in A6 landscape, A4 landscape and square of dimension 20 into 20 centimeters. Zen Sangam also has a spiral-bound version of these which are available in multiple sizes with micro perforation for easy tear-off. Now let's remove the journal from its packaging and take a closer look. This label here provides all important specifications about the journal like the size and the paper used. The MRP mentioned here is Rs 500 but I got it for Rs 399 on Amazon. Moving on, I chose a journal with a black cover but they also have a blue variant. The cover is hard bound with a fabric exterior that is smooth to touch. The pages of the journal are held together with a black elastic band with a pleasant lemon colored stripes that effectively breaks the monotony. The elasticity is pretty good and it's easy to remove and put back the band. The corners of the journal are rounded. There seems to be a minor damage on this piece, probably something that happened during transit. When you flip the journal, you can see the ends of the elastic band embedded in the back cover and the finish is quite clean. The Zen Sangam branding is also stamped here. Now looking closely at the paper, the texture appears to be slightly more pronounced than a moleskin or a hanemule, but I really like the thickness. It's not thick enough to make the journal feel bulky and neither is it thin. The color of the paper is not a brilliant white but a subtle off-white. I also love the fact that the journal lays down flat so one can easily use the entire stretch for a panoramic painting. Another interesting thing I noticed is that the stitch appears in every second page, so if at all you need to remove a painting that's spread across, your task becomes easier. Now while the description says there are 50 pages, you'd only be able to count 25. So what they mean is that when you include the front and the back, the usable pages adds up to 50. I think that's a pretty decent number to have since it doesn't make the journal bulky and it's easy to carry around. One minor flaw I see in the binding is that the first and the second pages are stuck too close, so you can't use these pages without damaging it. The journal also has a ribbon attached that may be used as a bookmark and that's a beautiful touch to add, although I wish it was a tad bit longer. Overall, I really like the way the sketchbook is constructed. What I would have additionally liked would have been for them to add a pocket at the back to store reference material, color swatches, etc. Now let's do some sketches and check out how the journal holds out. Starting with the watercolors first, I begin with a very wet wash. As you can see, I haven't used any clips to hold the pages and although there is some mild buckling of the paper, the page hasn't wrapped or curled up. As I continue to add wet washes, the paper is holding up quite well. The pigments are blending beautifully and the colors are looking bright and vibrant. There is no bleeding on the back of the paper, although there are some signs of buckling. I probably won't recommend another watercolor painting on this side, but there is no reason why you can't do a pen sketch or even an acrylic or a gouache painting where the use of water is limited. Now let's do a sketch with acrylic paints. Unlike the paper designed specifically for acrylic paints, this paper has a lot of bumps and grooves, so you may have to keep the paint slightly more wet than usual to push the paints into the fiber. But as you proceed and move on to the second layer, the base layer gives you some additional smoothness and it becomes easier to maneuver your brush around. Once you get used to the texture, you can undoubtedly make a stunning painting, although personally I feel that the uneven texture makes it slightly harder to give fine details. Like the previous watercolor painting, there is absolutely no bleeding on the back of the paper and in this case there is no sign of buckling either. So you can definitely use this site for another wet media painting. Overall, this is quite an impressive journal. I love the construct with its hardbound cover, pretty elastic band, ribbon and rounded corners that gives it a nice elegant look. The paper, true to its words, can withstand several layers of wet washes and works really well with wet technique. I also love the fact that it lays out flat and has a stitch after every second page. At Rs 500, this watercolor paper art journal makes a very economical choice vis-a-vis their international competitors. Just be aware that this paper is more textured than a moleskin watercolor journal or a Hanemule journal, but if this works for you, you should definitely add this to your travel art kit. If you enjoyed this video, do click the like button and do subscribe to my channel to watch an art supply review every Wednesday.